When and why do microgreen seeds have to get soaked? Let's talk about this. So when and why do microgreen seeds have to get soaked? One of the reasons why certain seeds have to get soaked is to help with germination. It accelerates the germination process. If you don't soak some of these seeds, like sunflowers, so it's such a hard shell, or peas that have a hard shell, anything with a hard shell sometimes requires you to soak the seeds for up to 8 hours. You don't want to do it any more than that. Sometimes if you do it longer than that, it's more susceptible to getting mold in the germination process, and that's no fun. So for today, we're going to talk about wheatgrass and we're going to talk about sunflowers, two which have to get soaked for about 8 hours. Normally, I'll soak my seeds in a food container like this with our filtered water from our house. Let it sit in there for 8 hours, rinse them out. Sometimes sunflowers will require a mixture of water and food hydrogen peroxide to prevent any type of mold, because these seeds get planted so close together, but they do grow better together. They have a chance of getting some kind of mold. So just one of those things with this type of variety. But also with wheatgrass seeds, same thing. They don't require a lot of water during the whole process. So sometimes, because the canopy is growing so thick and dense together, it's more susceptible to getting mold developing on that lower bottom of the canopy where the seeds are actually germinating. So I also will use a food grade hydrogen peroxide mix with water, and I'll spray it down really well just to help prevent with all that. So normally the 4 varieties that we grow that do require to get soaked would be the sunflower, the pea shoots, the wheatgrass, and then sometimes cilantro, depending on the variety of cilantro. Normally leisure split cilantro from True Leaf Market, I don't normally soak those. But there's another variety, I think it's called Slow Bolt cilantro. It looks like a coriander ball, just like that. I do soak those if I have that variety in stock. But normally I like to buy the leisure split, so I don't have to worry about soaking those. Also, whenever I do beets, I do soak with the beets for about 6 to 8 hours sometimes too, because that seed is actually very hard, and it helps loosen up the seed over those 6 to 8 hours. So those are the 4 that we normally like to do that with. And so normally, I like to spread this out really well, get out any big clumps in the tray. Make sure you don't have any big clumps that could mess up your grow, and even this thing out really well. Just spread it out nice and evenly, and then I'm going to use a special tamper that I use to flatten the soil down before I put the seed on top. So both of the wheatgrass and the sunflower seeds do require to be on top of the soil. We have to be buried. There's other varieties that do get buried that we could talk about on a different time, but we will be putting these guys on top. Then I have my little special handled tamper tool that I made out of some plywood to just press down on the soil to make it nice and smooth. Like so. And let's get some more cocoa coir for the other tray. Once again, just spread it out nice and evenly. Get this spread out nice and evenly here. And we're going to tamp this one down also. One more time. All right, so these guys are ready to go. So normally what I just like to do is I like to just get these seeds and just kind of just spread them out all over the tray. And then once I get it to where I want it, I'll use my hands and spread them out nice and evenly. Try to make sure there's no clumps of seed anywhere. But sunflower do like to grow together as a big group. And they do also, another thing we need to talk about is weight. Sunflower do require weight, so I will be putting normally a 15-pound brick on top of this bad boy. And what that does, it helps the roots get very strong, and they all will work on pushing the brick up together as a team, and it just helps the crop grow nice and strong. So we'll just even that out. And also, because like I said, this is kind of prone to getting mold in the first stages as it germinates, I am going to spray it down with my peroxide mix first before I get some water on it. And the germination process should be about 3 to 4 days for this one. And then wheatgrass, pretty much the same thing. So remember, this is going in germination for 3 to 4 days. So you want to make sure you get this nice and wet. Looking nice and pretty, just like this. Then these types of grows do require 3 trays. So we have a 3rd tray here that will sit on top here, just like so. This is ready to go into germination. And on top of that, we have this big boy right here. Will sit on top, and then it's ready to go into germination, and you let it be for 3 to 4 days. So wheatgrass, very similar. The only difference with the wheatgrass is that this does not require weight, but I still put a tray on top of it. But because it is a grass, it doesn't have as strong of a root system. But it does grow very tall. So normally I'll just put a tray on top of it and let it do its thing. But it will also get the spray of the hydrogen peroxide just because of it being prone to growing mold on the bottom part of where the seeds germinate. So we want to try to help prevent that. And also growing it in these thin, shorter trays, when you get good airflow passing through, it does help with any possibilities of mold as long as you get air passing through in this area. So we'll go ahead and give it a spray again with the peroxide mixture. And this will also take about 3 to 4 days for the germination process. And, you know, like I said, just put a tray on top of it and leave it alone. And then start checking it. It doesn't require water every day. Obviously, you still want to check the tray, but you definitely don't want to overwater your wheatgrass. I'm going to get my third tray, and put that right on top, and that's ready for germination. So hopefully that was helpful for you guys, and it's a pretty simple process, but also very tedious if you don't have the right grow environment. If you're trying to grow sunflower or wheatgrass and you're getting these mold issues, finding a food grade hydrogen peroxide definitely does help. Putting in a spray bottle, using it that way helps out a lot. And get some good airflow wherever you're growing it at. Make sure that you have air passing through. And it lessens the chances of you getting mold on these grows. Okay, so to sum this up, when you're going to grow wheatgrass, sunflower, pea shoots, get some kind of container where you can soak the seeds into with a cover. Measure out your seeds, put them in, fill it up with your filtered water, let it sit for 6 to 8 hours. After that's done, you get a strainer, rinse them, strain them out, and then you're going to run some filtered water over them to clean them out. You can let them dry a little bit if you'd like, but normally I like to go just straight to it. But that's when I use the hydrogen peroxide mixture to apply. And then after that, you're ready to grow.